welcome to another episode of Hope Kids Online. It is now officially Christmas season!
Yay!
Woo! Yay! Hey, your nose disappeared.
Yeah, nothing's impossible.
Nothing's impossible with God, that's it. So, hey, we're so glad that you are here today. Today, we're talking all about another character in the Christmas story, and he's a pretty important character.
He's pretty important. He's kind of integral to the whole story.
Yeah, without him, you wouldn't end up in Bethlehem.
Right.
We'll talk about that in a few weeks.
Yeah.
But today, we're talking about Joseph.
Yeah.
And Joseph, he was given some pretty crazy instructions that didn't make any sense at all. So, but what we're talking about today is that we will obey no matter what God may say.
Right.
So
doesn't matter what he says, we need to obey him no matter what the circumstances is.
Yeah, and I know in my own life that God has given me some pretty crazy things to do, and I'm like, God, are you sure? But I went with it, and I can always know that God will bless me with it. And that's what we're going to talk about today. But first, we're going to play a game. So watch this.
Hey guys, we're gonna play a game called Smooth Moves, where I make a move, then you make it too. Everybody stand up, and as long as you can match my moves, you're in the game. But if you can't keep up, you gotta sit down. Here's the first move. That was pretty easy, right? Well, round two's gonna be just a little bit harder. Yeah! Pretty good, but now let's try on round three. You guys have done pretty good so far, but now let's get advanced with level 4. Let's see how you do.
Oh, hey everybody, it's me again. Sorry if I seem a little distracted. My mom put me in charge of putting up the Christmas tree, and she says I have to be done by the time she gets home. But here's the problem. I hate putting up the Christmas tree. I mean, I love the way it looks when it's done, but I can't ever tell the difference between garland and tinsel and mistletoe and holly. I mean, it's so much work. But she is my mom, so I guess I have to obey her. I guess I'll obey and do the work. Obeying isn't always easy. In fact, obeying can be pretty hard sometimes. Our parents give us all kinds of instructions, like cleaning our rooms, eating our vegetables, and doing our homework. And those are things we don't always enjoy, so it makes obeying our parents pretty hard sometimes. Obeying God can be hard as well. Sometimes God might ask us to do something that's so difficult, we worry about whether or not people will laugh at us. Or maybe God asks us to do something that doesn't really make sense in our minds, so we struggle to obey Him. But here's the truth. When we obey, we will be blessed. God wouldn't ask us to do something that isn't good for us. It may be hard, but when we obey God, it's always worth it. Today, you're going to learn about another important star in the Christmas story. Joseph was the man who was engaged to be married to Jesus' mother, Mary. God asked him to do something that wasn't easy, but Joseph learned the importance of obeying, even when it's hard. And I learned when I obey my mom and decorate the tree anyway, it sure turns out to be a blessing. Looks pretty awesome, huh? Well, this is Lauren signing off until next time when I introduce you to another star in the real Christmas story.
Hey, Hope family, I want to let you know about exciting things that are happening in December. December is time for Christmas, and it's always a busy time for everyone, and this month is no different, even though we have a pandemic. There are 4 events I want to let you know about, and each one happens on a Wednesday night, except for Christmas Eve. We'll talk about that in just a second. The first one on December 2nd at 7 o'clock at our Sarasota campus, we are going to watch a Christmas movie. Now, I can't tell you what we're going to watch on this video, but you can see it in person. But if you snoop around, you might actually find out what it is. So that we're going to play games and have popcorn and watch the Christmas movie. It's going to be a ton of fun. Then the following Wednesday on December 9th, we're going to make Christmas boxes for underprivileged kids in Sarasota and the Bradenton area. There's a lot of kids in our area that are not going to have a great Christmas. And what we're going to do is we're going to take toys and candy and a lot of other great goodies and put them inside of a shoebox and then prep all of those shoe boxes on that Wednesday night. Then on the following week, on December 16th, we're going to have a Christmas party where we're going to celebrate all things Christmas. It's the first time Hope has done a Christmas party for everybody, and we totally want you to be there because what makes a party great? You! That's right. We want you to be there. That is at 7 o'clock. We're going to have lots of games, and every single one of these events are going to be family friendly. So no matter how young or how old you are, we want you to be there. Now, December 24th, Christmas Eve, like we talked about, is actually a Thursday, so we can't say every Wednesday. But what's going to happen on that day is we're going to have our traditional Christmas Eve services that you've come to know and love. They are going to happen we're going to have 2 services at 4:30 and 6 o'clock. You can come to either one, and we're going to still observe social distancing protocols as best we can during those 2 times. It's always a wonderful time with their family, with their Christmas story, and the kids are even going to sing a song. You're going to want to be there. So that's the 4 events that were happening in December, and we want to see you at every single one, all of them at the Sarasota campus. We'll see you soon. Okay, guys, it's Christmas time. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to sing some Christmas songs. And this is one of my favorite songs. We sing it every year at Energize. It's called the Christmas Medley. It's by one of our favorite kids worship artists, Yancy. And we're actually going to sing 4 different songs. The first one we're going to sing is Jingle Bells. So it starts with Dashing Through the Snow. So you pretend like you're playing Jingle Bells. And then it goes to Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree. So you go and play your little air guitar. You play it all day long, all right? And then the next song that we sing is Feliz Navidad. And for Feliz Navidad, you do a little salsa. So you're gonna move your hips, move your arms a little bit, and then finally we wish you a Merry Christmas. So you're gonna move your arms back and forth like this. So the words are gonna be right here on the screen. Let's sing this song together and bring the joy of Christmas. Let's sing the Christmas Medley.
Rocking around the Christmas tree at the Christmas party hop. Mistletoe hung where you can can see every couple tries to stop. Rocking around the Christmas tree, let the Christmas spirit ring. Later we'll have some pumpkin pie and we'll do some caroling. You will get a sentimental feeling when you hear voices singing, let's be jolly. Deck the halls with boughs of holly. Rocking around the Christmas tree, have a happy holiday. Everyone's dancing merrily in the new old-fashioned way. Feliz Navidad, Feliz Navidad, Feliz Navidad, próspero año y felicidad. Feliz Navidad, Feliz Navidad, Feliz Navidad, próspero año y felicidad. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas from the bottom of my heart. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas. I wanna wish you a Merry Christmas from the bottom of my heart. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
All right, guys, welcome to another episode of Potato Head Theater. Today's story is found in Matthew chapter 1, verse 20 through 25. Remember what we learned about last time? Mary, Jesus' mother? The angel of God had appeared to her and told her that God had placed a baby in her tummy and she was to name him Jesus. He would be the Savior of the world. Well, as you can imagine, this was very difficult for Joseph to believe.
What? You're telling me you're gonna have a baby and it comes from God? That doesn't make any sense at all. It's the truth. It's what the angel told me.
He wasn't sure how to handle a fiancé who thinks she's seeing angels and having God's son.
I'm starting to think my fiancé is a little cuckoo.
He decided he would break off his engagement to Mary quietly. He didn't want to bring any shame upon Mary at all.
I know everybody's gonna think it's weird if you all of a sudden show up with a baby, and so what we're gonna do is I think I'm gonna break it off, but we're gonna do it quietly so like no one will know, and we won't bring any embarrassment to Mary or me or anyone else.
He loved her, but he was just very confused about all of this. Well, just when Joseph was going to break off his engagement, guess who appeared to him as well? That's right, the angel appeared to him also and told him, "Do not be afraid to take Mary as your wife."
Joseph, don't be afraid to take Mary as your wife.
Don't be afraid of Mary. I'm afraid of you.
Joseph was a little scared by the angel appearing out of nowhere, I am sure.
You're telling me? I think I need to go check my pants after that one.
But he listened very carefully as the angel gave him God's instructions. She will give birth to a son. You will name him Jesus.
Here's what you're gonna do. Mary is gonna have a baby. He's gonna be God's son, and you're gonna name him Jesus. Jesus, like Yeshua or Jesus?
Now, you have to understand something. Back in those days, the name you gave a child was very important. It often carried meaning with it. Joseph had probably already thought about what name he was going to give his firstborn son.
I was gonna go with Joe Jr., but I guess Jesus could work.
It would have been easy for Joseph to say no.
You know, I think you're right. It would be a lot easier to say no, but I think I am gonna do what's right and what God is telling me to do.
Well, that's good. See ya.
He could have ignored the angel's instructions and just continued with his plan to break off his engagement to Mary. But that is not what he did at all. Joseph did exactly as the angel had told him. He obeyed even though it meant that everyone else would not understand. He obeyed God's plan even though it was a very hard thing to do.
Hey, Mary, I know I said we might break this off, and I still don't understand everything or how it's going to work, but I think we should still go ahead and be married. And I'm going to take Jesus as my own son. You are? That's wonderful. Mwah!
All right, guys, thank you for joining us on another episode of Potato Head Theater.
Thanks for joining us. See you next time.
Everyone, this is your favorite Christmas decorator. Merry Christmas. I'm just here working on another house, and while I'm doing that, why don't we take a break and learn today's power verse? Today's power verse says, "Joyful are those who obey his laws and search for him with all their hearts." Psalm 119:2. Well, deck my halls. That was such an amazing power verse, but I really think that I would like to hear you all saying it with me. How about we have the boys stand up and start? Are you ready, boys? Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Joyful are those who obey his laws and search for him with all their hearts. Psalm 119:2. Excellent job, boys. You can sit down. Now it's time for my sugar plum sweet girls. Come on, girls, stand up and say the power verse with me. Are you ready? Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Joyful are those who obey his laws and search for him with all their hearts. Psalm 119:2. Great job. You can have a seat. Kids, I have something to tell you. When I first took this job decorating this house, I found out that the people who lived here weren't Christians. I felt God telling me, "Mary, you need to tell them about Jesus." But I was scared, y'all. What if they fired me? But I knew I had to obey God. I told them all about Jesus coming on Christmas Day. I told them about him dying and forgiving their sins. And do you know what? That sweet family gave their hearts to Jesus. This year we're going to be celebrating Christmas with them for a whole new reason. I'm so glad I obeyed God. Now how about I get everybody to stand up and say the power verse with me? Are you ready, boys and girls? Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Joyful are those who obey his laws and search for him with all their hearts. Psalm 119:2. Wow, that was awesome. You all may sit down. You know, I have a lot more Christmas decorating to do, so I'm gonna let you go. Until next time, this is Merry Christmas saying, Merry Christmas. Bye-bye now.
Today, we're learning all about a person from the Christmas story, Joseph. Joseph was a very important part of the story because Joseph was Jesus' earthly father. But it didn't start that way. In fact, Joseph was very confused and worried about whether or not he should actually follow God and take Mary as his wife. You see, Joseph was already engaged to Mary before Mary was ever visited by an angel to be told that she was going to have Jesus. And so one day when Joseph is just going about his business, Mary shows up and says, "Joseph, I was visited by an angel and I'm going to have a baby and he's going to be the Son of God." There's a lot in that statement. Imagine if someone came to you and told you something like that. Imagine if it was someone that you love very much. Joseph was hurt, he was embarrassed, he was confused. He wasn't even sure if Mary was completely sane or if she was just crazy. How could this possibly be? But Joseph decided to follow God anyway. And it wasn't because but he still had to have an angel come visit him. And the same angel that had visited Mary came to Joseph. And that angel told him, "Hey, this is what's going to happen. Mary is going to give birth to the Son of God. She has a baby growing in her tummy right now. And here's what you need to do. You need to name him Jesus. Joseph could have said, "No, I'm out." But he didn't. He chose to obey God. He chose to follow the instructions that God had for him and had for his life. And Joseph, because of that, we're talking about him 2,000 years later. God blessed him richly. You see, Joseph obeyed when it didn't make sense. There are some times when God asks us to do things that doesn't make sense. We're like, how is that true? How is that possible? Why would I do that? That doesn't make any sense at all. But if we follow God, we'll find incredible things at it. So let me show you a little bit what I'm talking about. I'm going to give you some instructions, and I want you to go ahead and stand up. Go ahead, and I'm going to give you these instructions, and they don't always have to make sense, but I want you to do them anyway. Are you ready? Here's the first thing I'd like you to do. I want you to do 10 jumping jacks. Ready, set, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, whew. Good job. Did you get them all done? Take a breath. Whew. Grab a breath. Okay, here's the next one. I want you to say as loud as possible, "I am a wacky, wacky bird." You're a wacky, wacky bird. That's funny. Yeah. Anyway, okay, so here's the last one. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to turn around 5 times while shouting, "Christmas is almost here. Christmas is almost here." Ready? 5 times. Turn around. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, go. Christmas is almost here! 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 Whoa, don't fall down. Careful. Okay, you good? All right, catch your breath. Now, did those instructions make any sense? No, they didn't make sense. And sometimes the instructions we get from God don't make sense. But when we follow God's instructions, we always get a blessing. Now, imagine if you did all those, that you actually get someone comes and says, "Hey, you did a good job. Here's $5. I'm like, sweet, $5? This is amazing. I love $5. $5 is awesome. I can go get something at McDonald's now. Now, that's pretty awesome because God always blesses us when we follow him. But the other thing is that when we follow God, sometimes it costs us something. See, Joseph, when he obeyed God, it cost him something. It cost his reputation. You see, Joseph was a fine, upstanding man in his community, but when Mary shows up pregnant and they're not married yet, most of the town looked down on that, and they were questioning about, how did this happen? Why would this happen? Joseph probably he became ridiculed and made fun of in his entire town, and that was actually one of the reasons why he was considering divorcing Mary in quiet, breaking off the engagement and quietly, so that no one would actually know what had happened. But people knew, and people knew, and it cost Joseph something. So now, you still remember that $5 that you imaginary got? Now here's what I want you to do. I want you to take that $5. I want you to go put it in a box. Imagine you're going to walk over to a box and put it inside, and that $5 is going to be gone forever. You ready? Do you even want to do that? Well, let's imagine that you are. And you're walking over to the box, and you take your $5 and you go to put it down, and then you look inside the box, and you think it could be something good, it could be something bad, you're not sure. And you look down, and then something wonderful is inside. It's not $5, it's $100, and it's all yours. Isn't that awesome? You see, when God asks us to do something that costs something, sometimes he pays it back tenfold, 100-fold, 10 times, 100 times. God blesses us when we follow his instructions, even when they don't make sense. When I obey, God will bless me. Now, does that mean that your life is going to be perfect and everything's going to be rainbows and daisies the rest of your life? No, of course not. But what it does mean is that if you follow God, he will bless you. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but when you look back in your life, you know that God has blessed you greatly because of the things you have, because of the things he's done, because of the opportunities that have been placed in front of you. All we have to do is trust and obey God. Now, here's what we're going to do is we're going to pray. but we're going to do something a little different. In weeks past, what we've done is we've normally sang a song at the end. And I know we sang a song earlier, but what we're going to do this time is I'm actually just going to play some music softly in the background and put a graphic up on the screen. And what I want you to do during this time is I want you to just bow your heads and close your eyes and listen. Listen for what God may be asking you to do. One of the things that we learn from following God is how to hear his voice. It's not an audible voice. It's not like when our parents are talking to us, but it's sometimes we just know and we can hear it. We can hear what God is telling us to do. It may be an urging. It's like, maybe I should go do this. Or maybe it's a thought and like, what if I did that? And if we listen to those things and as we continue to listen and act upon it, we can get better and better at hearing what God's voice is. Maybe it's something you read in your Bible about taking care of the poor or taking care of widows and orphans. Or maybe it's something you hear someone else in prayer and it's like, I wish God would do this, and you have the ability. Or maybe you hear about a need that you can step up and say, hey, I can help you with that. All of those ways are ways that we can hear God's voice, but we have to practice. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pray it first, and then I'm going to be quiet for 1 minute. And I want you to pray and listen for God to speak to you and ask him, what are you asking me to do? Let's pray. God, I thank you that you speak and we can hear you. And even though some of us have never heard your voice before, we're not even sure what it sounds like. God, I pray that you speak to every one of us today. Everyone who's watching this right now, that you speak to us and we're able to hear you. God, I pray that we all develop the skill of hearing your voice. And God, I pray that we trust and obey you no matter what. God, thank you so much that you are speaking to us all the time, and all we have to do is listen. I pray as we listen right now that you speak to us. Let's listen for the Lord. Thank you so much for joining us on this week's Hope Kids online service. You know, God has always told us, He's always talking to us, and all we got to do is listen. And sometimes the instructions that God gives us are pretty crazy.
Oh, yeah.
There's pretty crazy. I actually heard about a guy one time that God told him to go into a convenience store and stand on his head. And then when he stood on his head, all of a sudden someone at the counter started crying. He's like, what in the world? And he goes in, and goes to ask the guy, why are you crying? And he said, well, I was about to go do something really bad. And I told God, if someone doesn't come into this convenience store right now and stand on his head, I'm going to go do it. And then you did. And it was like, what? It's crazy story.
That's insane.
You know, God may give you some. We always have to obey God no matter what he says. And that's the story that we learned from Joseph. Hey, I wanted to let you know this Wednesday, we're doing a Christmas movie.
Nice.
Now,
Christmas movies.
Christmas movies are fun. And I can't tell you what the Christmas movie is because, you know, this is online. But you're going to really enjoy it. And we got a lot of fun games coming up into it as well. So you want to be here at the Sarasota campus at 7 o'clock. You can come be a part of that. It's going to be so much fun. You want to be that. And then the week after that, we're going to be stuffing Christmas boxes for underprivileged kids in the Sarasota Bradenton area.
Yeah, giving back. Because a lot of those kids, the only present they're going to get this year is going to be this little box that we do up for them. So this is their Christmas celebration, and the kids have always loved it a lot.
They do. I went last year to the distribution. They were so excited for what was there. And don't forget, the week after that is our Christmas party. It's a brand new Christmas, and we've never done a Christmas party for the whole church, but we are. It's a Christmas party in person at 7 o'clock on Wednesday night. That is going to be December 19th. So we Hope to see you there. If you want to find any more information about that or everything else that's going on at Hope Kids, make sure to go to churchofhope.com/kids and make sure you like, follow, or subscribe to everything that we're doing here so that you don't miss a single thing. All right, Merry Christmas!
See you soon.